Morin, Morin.
And what's your date of birth, Ms. Morin?
6/10/78.
What city and state do you currently reside in?
Laconia, New Hampshire.
And how long have you lived in Laconia?
About 3 years.
How are you presently employed?
I work in retail.
In retail? And how long have you done that? How long have you worked in retail?
My whole life, about 20 years, probably.
And what's your highest level of education, Miss Morin?
GED.
Do you know someone named Adam Montgomery?
Yes, I do.
And can you tell these jurors how you know Adam Montgomery?
We were in a rehab facility together, and then we became romantically involved for a little bit.
What year would that have been in that you were romantically involved with the defendant, Adam Montgomery?
2021.
And, Your Honor, may I approach?
Yes.
Your Honor, I'm showing the witness what's been published as State's Exhibit 101. Ms. Moore, do you recognize?
Yes, I do.
The individual that's there?
Yes, I do.
And who is that individual?
It's Adam Montgomery.
That was the individual that you were romantically involved with in 2021?
Yes.
Were you aware of whether or not the defendant was married at that time?
I was.
And did he ever tell you anything about his wife?
Not just that they hadn't seen each other in a while.
Do you remember providing a statement to an officer with the Manchester Police Department back in February of 2022?
I do.
And that statement was regarding the defendant, is that right?
It was.
Do you think that seeing that statement would refresh your recollection of what the defendant may have said to you about his spouse, about his wife?
No, I recall.
Okay. And what do you recall him saying about his wife?
That she would do anything for him.
That she would do anything for him? During the time that you were romantically involved with the defendant, did he ever discuss his children?
He did.
So you were aware that he had children?
I was.
Was there a particular discussion with the defendant that stood out to you about
Yes.
the children? And
Yeah.
Tell us about that.
We were at lunch one day and just talking about our children in general, and he stated that the worst thing that had ever happened or he had done was he walked out of the bathroom and Harmony was suffocating the baby. So he backhanded her I don't know if it was as a reaction is the way it was told to me, to stop her from suffocating.
So he said he backhanded her.
Yes.
Did he say what the result of that backhand was?
He said he hit her glasses, so she ended up with a black eye.
Did he describe anything about that black eye that you just mentioned?
No.
In that conversation where he discussed causing that black eye, did he say that he had nudged Harmony out of the way?
I don't recall.
He said he backhanded her.
I don't recall his exact verbiage.
Did he ever discuss other children with you?
Yes.
And what were those discussions? What was the substance of those discussions?
He's told me that he had 5 children, all under the age of 7. They all had the same mom. At one point, I asked him to go to Maine with me when I was leaving, and he said he would be too far away from his kids, so he could not.
If I could have just a moment. Thank you, Ms. Moore. No additional questions.
No questions, Your Honor.
All right, you may step down.
Thank you.
State may close. Next witness.
Your Honor, the state calls Nicholas Ahern. Mr. Ahern, if you can just remain standing and raise your right hand. Do you swear that the testimony that you're going to provide this jury will be the truth and the whole truth under the pains and penalties of perjury?
Yes.
You can have a seat and make yourself comfortable. Mr. Ahern, can you start by stating and spelling your full name for the record?
Yes, it's Nicholas Ahern, Nicholas. Ahern, Ahern.
Thank you. And Mr. Ahern, what city and state do you live in?
Manchester, New Hampshire.
How long have you lived in Manchester?
My entire life.
How old are you?
34.
Mr. Ahern, what do you do for a living?
I do construction, metal framing, drywall,
Framing and drywall?
Yep.
How long have you done that?
since I was like 20.
It's 14 years.
Yeah, a long time.
What's the highest level of education you've obtained?
I think it was 11th grade.
And did you get your GED?
No, I went right into the trade.
Do you know someone named Adam Montgomery, Mr. Ahern?
Yes, I do.
Yes.
Mr. Ahern, I'm showing you what's been published as State's Exhibit 101.
Yes.
Do you recognize that individual?
Yes, that's Adam Montgomery.
And how long have you known Mr. Montgomery?
I want to say since I was like 18. So, yeah, a long time.
Are you aware of him having any children?
Yeah, I know he has a couple.
Are you aware of a daughter?
Yes. Yes.
Have you ever seen his daughter?
Yes, once.
Do you know her name?
Harmony.
What can you tell us about that one time that you saw Harmony?
She came out of the house and she had marks on her face, which was a black eye.
Okay, and so let's unpack that a little bit. When you say she came out of the house, what house did she come out of?
I think it was Guilford Street, yeah.
Is that the house that she lived in? Was that your understanding?
Yes, that's where they lived.
So were you visiting the defendant when you
Yes.
saw Harmony?
Yes.
And what were you doing when Harmony came out of the house?
Just sitting out front talking to Adam.
What time of year was this?
Summertime, I want to say around July.
Do you remember what year?
I think it was 2019.
And let's talk about that injury that you saw. What can you tell the jury about it?
It was a pretty severe injury. At the time, I questioned Adam, what happened, and he told me that she acquired it during a soccer accident. Yeah.
When you say severe injury, what did you see? Can you explain to this jury what made it severe in your opinion?
Her eyes were blackened. Yeah, it was pretty intense in the moment. Yeah.
Was it concerning to you?
It was, but he told me that she acquired it during a soccer accident. I have kids, so I understand, accidents happen. So.
Do you know someone named Kevin Montgomery?
Yes.
At some point after you saw that injury to Harmony, did you have a conversation with Kevin?
Yes, he contacted me.
And I'm not asking you for the substance, just whether or not.
Yes.
And you said he contacted you, is that right?
Yes.
When Harmony came out of the house, about how long did you see her for?
Maybe 4 seconds. It was quick.
Why was it quick?
Because he told her to go back inside.
And sorry, when you say he told her to go back inside.
Sorry, Adam Montgomery told her to go back inside.
Can you tell the jury how he told her to get back inside?
He was, Adam was forcive. He just, basically told her to go in, and he kind of walked her up to the door and shut it.
About how old was Harmony when you saw her that day?
I want to say maybe 5, something like that. 5.
How would you describe her when you saw her come out for those 4 seconds?
She was just standing there, just looking. No real body movement, just standing there.
And when the defendant forcefully told her to go back inside, did she obey?
Yes.
If I could have just a moment.
Yes.
No additional questions, Your Honor.
Counsel,
No questions, Your Honor.
you may step down.
And we'd ask that this witness be excused, Your Honor.
Any objection?
No.
All right, you may be excused.
At this time, the state would call Deputy Sheriff Paul Moody. Sorry, just a moment. Sorry, Your Honor, would you like me to just check in the hallway?
Sure.
I'll set you on. Deputy Sheriff Paul Moody, please.
Careful with the wires, please.
Deputy, if you just please remain standing when you get there for a brief moment. Thank you. Please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear that the testimony that you will give this jury will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you, sir. Please feel free to have a seat. And Deputy, as we're being recorded here today for the record, would you please go ahead, state your full name and spell both your first and your last name for us?
Paul Paulmontrey,
Okay. And I bet I already know the answer, but where are you currently employed, sir?
Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office.
Okay. How long have you worked for them?
7 years.
7 years so far. Okay. And with regard to your employment with them, did you ever work in any other sort of law enforcement before working for the Sheriff's Office?
I started in New York City in 1985, NYPD,
Whereabouts in the city?
Lower Manhattan and Brooklyn.
Okay. How long were you there?
5 years.
5 years. Okay. And after that, any other sort of law enforcement
Town of
experience?
Henniker for 5 years.
Okay.
Merrimack County Sheriff's Office for 20. State for 2. And now I'm here part-time.
And when you say state for 2, what agency did you work for those 2 years?
Patrol DMV.
Okay. And what were some of your day-to-day duties for them?
We basically dealt with trucks and inspection stations.
All right. So with regards to your duties now for the Hillsborough County Sheriffs, you said you're working for them part-time, is that correct?
Yes.
All right. So what are your day-to-day duties? What do they look like?
Primarily transporting prisoners to and from the jail and the prison
Okay.
to the courts.
And let me ask you, do you ever, I'm going to say, when did you come back to do part-time again?
2019.
2019, okay. I want to specifically draw your attention to November 27th of 2019. And on that particular day, I'd like to ask...
2017, sorry.
2017 is when you
I
came
went
back.
to, yes,
Okay,
Hillsborough County.
that's all right. Let me be specific, though. Let me steer you to one day in 2019, just before Thanksgiving, November 27th, 2019. Did you help serve or were you present for an eviction notice at 77 Guilford Street in Manchester that day?
I was.
Okay. And I wondered if you could explain a little bit for the jurors just for an eviction process, what is the role of the deputy sheriff? What are you there to do?
So we have a court order that's evicting whoever's there on the premises. I was a second deputy. I'm assisting the primary deputy. Usually we send 2 guys. And for some reason, I don't know what, his partner was tied up with something else, so they sent me over. And I just assisted with posting the property and having the people leave.
And typically, how long does this process take to do an eviction? Just typically in your experience, I mean.
We usually give them 10 to 15 minutes to get some belongings and skedaddle.
Okay. And on this particular one at Guilford Street, do you have any recollection of roughly how long that took?
Probably 10 to 15 minutes, the ordinary time.
Was there anything about that eviction that necessarily stands out to you, or was it just a very typical eviction for you?
Pretty much the same as all others.
Okay.
There were a lot of clothes around. It was kind of dirty. And there were a couple children there. And there was a male and a female.
Okay. And when you say male and female, and you say male, female, and children, so the male and the female, are they both adults?
Adults, yes.
Okay. And then the children, do you remember how many there were?
I couldn't tell you for sure.
Okay.
There were a couple. I would say at least 2, but I can't tell you if there was any more than that.
Okay. Where did they go at the end of the eviction?
They got into their vehicle and they left.
Okay. And with regards to the home, what happens to home when an eviction takes place?
So we post it with no trespass stickers.
Mhm.
And usually the landlord will come and change the locks.
Okay.
I don't recall if there was a landlord there that day. Sometimes they don't show up, and we just post it.
And I just want to make sure that I understand on this particular one. I believe you said before when you do an eviction, it's based upon an order from the court. Is that
Yes.
right? All right. Do you have a copy of that order when you go to do the eviction?
We do.
Okay.
I did not personally have that. That would have been my partner that had the paperwork.
Is that a routine practice of being let me try this in English. Is that a routine practice of the sheriff's office to make sure that a copy of that order is in hand before the eviction is done?
In our hand, yes.
In your hand?
Yes.
Okay. And do you have any reason to believe that's not what happened that day?
Not at all.
Just a moment, please, Your Honor. you very much, Deputy. I don't have any further questions for you. Defense counsel may have a comment.
Okay.
No questions, thank you.
All right. You may step down.
Thank you, Ron.
Statement call its next witness. Yes. Sometimes things go more quickly than we think. Oftentimes they go more slowly than we think, but sometimes they do go more quickly than we anticipate. This is one of those times. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have you take a break as soon as the next witness is ready, and we're ready to take their testimony. We will call you back in. We hope that will be in the next 10 to 15 minutes. All right? So same rules apply, not to talk about the evidence, not with each other or with anybody else. Don't do any independent research, and we will call you back in as soon as we can. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
All right, Siri.
All right, so counsel, are we going to need still to have you speak to that witness before we are able to take the witness?
I'm sure that both sets of counsel should be able to ask that question. So where we're going from there, I imagine probably be best practice for us to come in and report to you what that answer is, so that we can have you answer on which way to proceed.
I think it'll be a quick process.
That's fine. That's fine. That's fine. I'm just thinking that while we are in that waiting posture, is there anything we can accomplish so that you know which question you just need to ask? The only question is whether someone else was there. Do you want to approach for just a minute?
Yes, sir. I have to just say once that he's here. So would you like us to approach right now, or would you like us to go get that answer and then approach?
Get the answers you need, and then I will wait, and I'll have the court monitor take a break until you're ready. You can take a break. No, you can go off the record. Unless it's just one question and you want to come right back in. Why don't you go ask the question? We'll stay here. If you can stay on the record if you want to take a break. Feel free.
Somebody's got quite the cough in there.
Also, we did have an opportunity to ask him with regards to that question of whether or not he spoke before.
So I think they're just waiting on the next witness. She said a 15-minute break. If any of you watched the testimony from this morning, I wasn't able to be here to stream it, but I did watch it, and gosh, that was heartbreaking.
So he doesn't have a recollection of whether he spoke before.
Okay, so he doesn't know. Okay. So where does that leave us with regard to, you're just, why don't I ask you, Attorney Brooks, we were talking about what you were going to ask, or the other way is just to proceed. I mean, as you know, as state's already indicated, they're going to be looking to challenge him to the extent that you try to get into any opinions, concerns, findings, any of that.
I don't plan on stepping her.
Okay.
I'm sorry, Your Honor.
That's okay.
We're all set.
Okay. Everybody thinks we have a good enough understanding of where things stand? Yes? All right.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, then let's bring in the jurors.
So the coward didn't show again today.
All rise for the
huh?
jury, please.
If you missed yesterday, he did plead guilty to falsifying evidence and abuse of a corpse. Before they even started their opening statements, he was in dealings with them to plead guilty to those 2 charges. He had 5 charges total.
Counsel, so after this witness, am I releasing them and having them come back at 8:45?
45, I anticipate a very full day.
Okay. Counsel, I'm sorry. Attorney Smith, did you hear that? No. After this witness, we'll be releasing them then for an 8:45 return tomorrow.
Yeah.
That's fine.
So did I hear her right? This is going to be the last witness for today? I think that's what the judge said.
That's what I'm saying.
All rise for the jury.
Please be seated. The state may call its next witness.
Your Honor, the state calls Demetrios Soros. And Mr. Soros, you remain standing. Raise your right hand. You swear that the testimony that you're about to provide will be the truth and the whole truth under the pains and penalties of perjury.
I do.
You can make yourself comfortable. Can you start by providing, by stating and spelling your full name for the record?
Yes. My name is Demetrios Tsaros. First name is Demetrios. Last name is Tsaros.
And Mr. Soros, I'm just going to ask that you speak as loud as you can.
Yeah, thank you. I will.
Mr. Soros, what city do you live in?
I live in Concord, New Hampshire. I apologize. I just moved. Pembroke, New Hampshire.
How long have you been a New Hampshire resident?
All my life.
And what do you currently do for a living?
I am a career level letter carrier for the Postal Service.
The U.S. Postal Service?
Yes. Yes.
And how long have you worked in that capacity?
Since September of 2021.
Prior to September 2021, how were you employed?
I was employed as a CPSW, a Child Protective Service worker with the state of New Hampshire for DCYF.
And that acronym that you just gave, CPSW, can you tell the jurors what that means?
Yes, Child Protective Service worker.
How long did you work for DCYF?
Approximately 10 years.
And in your capacity as a caseworker for DCYF, did you have occasion to interact with someone named Adam Montgomery?
I did.
And calling your attention specifically to 2019, the summer of 2019, did you receive a report regarding Adam Montgomery?
I did.
Are you aware of whether or not he had children?
Not when I first received the report.
Was the report regarding one of his children?
Yes.
Which child was that?
Specifically, it was Harmony.
Harmony Montgomery.
I'm sorry, Harmony Montgomery.
And was that report regarding an injury to Harmony Montgomery?
Yes.
Do you know who made that initial report?
I do not. It was anonymous.
Do you remember specifically when that report was made?
It was July of 2019, towards the end of the month. Specifically, it was either the 19th or the 29th.
Would looking at your report refresh your recollection?
Yes. Yes, July 29th, 2019.
Did that refresh your recollection?
Yes.
Okay, so if you could just turn that over. It's face down.
And sir, I'm just going to ask you to keep your voice up so that all the jurors can hear you, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
And can you tell us that date again? I missed it.
July 29th, 2019.
And what did you do after your involvement on that call began?
I apologize. Could you be more specific?
So you got a report. What did you do after you received that report?
When I received the report, I initiated trying to make contact with the family in order to see them, see the family, see the children, ascertain safety.
And is that generally what you do, or is that what you did in this specific case?
Generally, that was the standard practice.
In this specific case, though, what did you do?
Specifically, tried to initiate contact. I ended up going out to the listed address in an effort to see the family.
Do you recall what that address was?
I believe it was 77 Guilford Street or Guilford Ave.
Tell us about that trip out to the 77 Guilford Street or Ave.
So I drove to the location, and as I pulled up the location, I noticed a person who I recognized as Adam Montgomery getting into a car.
And let me stop you there.
Yes.
Yes?
So, Mr. Soros, I'm going to show you what's been admitted and previously published. It's as State's Exhibit 101.
Mm-hmm.
Do Do you recognize the individual that's depicted there?
I do. That's Adam Montgomery.
So when you said that you recognized the individual getting into a car, I believe,
Yes,
that was this Adam Montgomery?
it was.
Was anyone else present with him as he was getting into that vehicle?
There was a young girl, small girl.
That interaction, your observation of the defendant, Adam Montgomery, and the small girl who was with him, how long was that?
Not very long. Basically, as I was pulling up and getting ready to park, they were getting into the vehicle, and I can't remember exactly how far away I was, 30, 40 feet or so, when I was parking my car, and I observed them getting into the vehicle.
So you're parking your vehicle. Were you outside of your vehicle when you saw him, or were you still inside your vehicle?
I was still inside my vehicle.
And this young girl that you saw with the defendant, what was she doing?
Nothing really in particular, just, getting into the vehicle, her father helping her into the vehicle. Excuse me. I didn't know if it was her father at the time. The person, Adam, helping her into the vehicle.
Specifically with respect to that small female that you saw, how long were you able to observe her for before she got into the vehicle?
Not long enough,
Maybe
apparently.
10 seconds, 15 seconds. Not a long period of time.
And this was from 30 to 40 feet away?
Correct.
I want to back up for just a moment. The child that you were going to see, it was a female, is that right?
Yes.
How long, sorry, let me strike that. Were you able to clearly see the child when you were in your car there?
I guess as clearly as I could from that distance.
Did you observe anything about the child other than her gender?
No, just it literally just looked like a small child, a female, getting into a car with someone.
How long were they parked there for before they drove away?
Not long. She got into the car. He then got into the car, and they drove away.
And you said the distance already, but was this on a public road, or were they in a driveway or something else?
Public road. They were parked on the side of the road in front of the house that I was going to.
During that home visit, did you interact with a child named Harmony Montgomery?
No.
Why not?
Aside from seeing her at that home visit, because she had left. She was the little girl that got into the car.
Is that something that you learned that day or at a later time?
That day.
While you were at the home attempting to make contact with Harmony, was there anything that drew your attention away as you were walking up, as you were approaching the home?
Anything that drew my attention away?
Yes.
Nothing in particular.
Do you recall?
Sorry, go ahead.
Do you recall noting that there was a loud dog that was barking at you?
Yes. There was a loud dog, a large dog, barking at me from the property.
And was that before or after the defendant drove away with this young female?
I believe it was after. It was after they left. I approached the property.
So you were unsuccessful in seeing Harmony Montgomery that day?
Correct.
Did you attempt to follow up with the defendant?
I did.
Tell us about those attempts.
That was initiating a phone call and speaking with Adam and trying to arrange a home visit in which I could actually come and see and speak with Harmony.
When were those attempts? You mentioned a phone call. When was that phone call?
I think I would have to look at my notes to refresh my memory, but I believe it was later that day that I spoke with Adam on the phone.
Please do, if you believe that that would refresh your recollection.
Yes, it was later that day.
Did you also attempt to call the defendant on August 1st?
I again would have to refer to my notes.
Please do.
I did.
Did you speak to the defendant on August 1st?
I did.
What, if anything, did he tell you about Harmony's condition?
I would have to, again, look at my notes for details.
Please do. And just look up when your memory's been refreshed. Do you recall what, if anything, the defendant told you about Harmony's condition when you spoke to him on August 1st?
The contact I just reviewed, I was speaking to him about setting up the home visit and that he had one of his children was not feeling well and he needed to take him to be seen.
And
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
So we would not be able to have a home visit and it would have to be rescheduled.
And during that conversation, did he also tell you that he believed that Harmony had the same illness as his other child?
That I don't remember. I don't recall.
Do you think that reviewing your notes would refresh your recollection?
Yes.
Please do.
It really is, Earth Dog. This morning was even harder, actually.
Mr. Soros, is your memory refreshed?
Yes. And Adam did say that he believed Harmony now had the same illness or condition that his other child had.
That again was on August 1st.
Yes.
So 2 days after you went out?
Correct.
At any point during your response, did you have a face-to-face with Harmony Montgomery?
Could you ask me that again? I'm sorry.
At any point during your response, did you have a face-to-face interaction with Harmony Montgomery?
My response as far as my following up with the report.
Correct.
I did.
When was that?
I believe it was about a week later. The exact date, I don't remember.
Do you think that reviewing your report would refresh your recollection with respect to the date?
Yes.
Can you please do so?
Yes, it was August 7th, approximately a week later.
What, if anything, did you observe about Harmony's physical appearance when you saw her on August 7th?
Overall, excuse me, overall, she seemed...
So let me strike that question.
Yes.
Specifically, did you notice any markings or injury to her face?
I did notice a small red mark under one of her eyes and some redness with discoloration in the eye that was closest to that.
Did the defendant tell you anything regarding how that injury occurred?
He did. He said that he had bought the kids, two younger children, he bought the kids like foam swords or lightsabers, and that they were playing with them, and that Harmony was struck in the face, in the eye, and that's how she got that mark.
So, Mr. Soros, I want to switch gears, and I want to discuss January of 2020. On January 8th of 2020, did you make contact with the defendant?
I believe so. I would like to review my contacts, please.
I'm sorry, could you speak a little more loudly?
Yes, ma'am.
And repeat the answer to that question?
I do remember receiving a report then, and I don't remember the exact date and whether I made contact or not.
Would it refresh your recollection to look at your report?
Yes. If may I?
In just a moment,
Yeah.
So feel free to review that and just look up when your memory can.
Yes, it was January 8th, 2020.
And how did that communication occur?
I apologize, meaning how did I contact them?
Yes.
Oh, phone.
You spoke to him on the phone?
Yes.
And what, if anything, during that conversation did he say about Harmony Montgomery?
I believe it was that conversation. I would have to check my notes to make sure. I can't remember if it was that conversation or later when meeting with him that he had told me that Harmony was now living with her biological mother.
Do you recall the specifics of what he said about how she came to be with her biological mother?
He had said that she was having visits with her mother, and again, I'd have to probably look at my notes again, but I believe due to their unstable housing situation that Harmony ended up staying with her mom.
Did you follow up with Crystal Sorey?
I did make an attempt. I called, and I believe I left a voicemail.
If I could have just a moment.
Oh, he left a voicemail. Gosh golly. To make it seem like this was just like an all of a sudden thing, but the fact is that there were so many calls to DCYF on this family. And Crystal, although she's doing great it seems now, she had only called the police station one time.
All right, thank you. Attorney Brooks?
Good afternoon, Mr. Saros. You met briefly beforehand, but my name is Jamie Brooks. I represent Mr. Montgomery. Just in terms of the timeline, a report came in on July 29th of 2019 regarding Harmony, correct?
Correct.
And specifically, it was that Adam had caused a black eye.
That was in the report. Someone referred, whomever it was that made the report referred to it as a shiner, which I interpret as a black eye.
And the report was made anonymously, but you knew the person to be Kevin Montgomery?
I did learn that later on.
So that day you went to the residence, the 29th,
Yes.
but it was a very fleeting encounter. Adam and Harmony were getting in a vehicle as you were arriving.
Correct.
So you observed Harmony for all of 10 seconds, right?
Thereabouts, yeah.
30, 40 feet away.
Mm-hmm.
You were in your car still at the time.
Yes.
But you did have a longer visit approximately a week later, correct?
Yes.
That was August 7th.
Yes.
You went inside the residence.
I did.
And it sounds like you spoke with Adam, but you also spoke with Harmony.
I did.
Your general or preferred practice is to try and meet with the kid alone, correct?
Correct.
But that doesn't always happen.
Correct.
Sometimes there is a parent there.
Sometimes there's a parent there,
Or in the next room.
or in the next room.
And you don't have any specific recollection regarding whether anybody was present when you spoke with Harmony.
I don't recall that.
But you were able to visually see Harmony, right?
Yes.
And you noticed a little bit of red in her right eye.
I can't remember if it was a right or left eye, but it was one of the eyes.
In one eye, there was some redness,
Yes.
faded bruising as well.
Yeah, I refer to it as like a faint red mark, and then
Right,
some
Kiko?
redness in
It's
the
almost unbelievable, isn't it?
Harmony had her glasses, right?
eye. She did.
You, she agreed to remove them, right?
Yes.
So that you could look at her.
Yes.
And there's a standard set of questions you ask under these circumstances, right?
I do. I did.
So, again, without indicating what the answer was, you would obviously ask her what had happened
Yes.
and other questions regarding her general safety.
Yes.
Aside from the redness in her eye and the faded bruising, you did not observe anything else concerning regarding Harmony's person or well-being.
I did not.
I don't have any further questions. Thank you.
Spiritual being, no. They have not ever found Harmony. And if you have time, I did a video, I posted it last night, and it basically takes you from the day that Harmony was born all the way up until yesterday afternoon. It's about an hour and a half long, so, but I think it's well worth a watch, and it's just all the facts of
Just
the
one
case,
question for you, Mr.
basically.
Soros. So, if I understand correctly, you're not sure whether when you spoke with Harmony, if her father was in the room, in another room, or somewhere else.
Correct. I don't recall that.
Thank you.
Nothing further, Judge.
All right, you may step down.
Thank you.
Your Honor, may this witness be excused?
Any objection? All right, this witness may be excused. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, as I said, things moved a little more quickly than the parties anticipated today. So we are going to end a little bit earlier today. It's our hope that we're going to go through with a full day tomorrow. So plan accordingly. Get a little. Looks like maybe there's a little bit of nice weather this afternoon. So so you'll get a little additional time. But I'll have you come back at 8:45 tomorrow, with the hope that we will get started on time at 9 a.m. Okay. So please be back at 8:45 tomorrow. Once again, don't discuss the case, not with anybody, not with each other or with anybody else. Don't do any independent research. Don't drive by the locations. You know, if you happen to drive anywhere along the route we were in the other day, yesterday, don't pay any additional attention that you wouldn't ordinarily pay if you were just on your direct route home, okay? Once again, I do anticipate that there is media regarding this case. So turn off all the notifications on your phone. Don't look at the newspaper or the local news, please. Maybe focus on international news if that's what you want to do. But please make sure that you are avoiding any newspaper, online, or other media coverage of this case as we continue the trial. All right. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. We will see you tomorrow morning.
All rise for the jury.
If you happen to miss this morning's testimony, I'm going to go back and clip some of it. I wasn't able to be here because I was
Maybe
at a
seated.
doctor But I am going to
guess
go
a good
back and
time for
clip
us to
some of
take up
that,
any
the most
housekeeping
important
matters
parts
if we
of
have
it.
any, in the hopes that,
And I'll get those posted later today as well.
I don't know, maybe as you look at the witness lists,
I believe the state understands that it's not going to be trying to get a hold of Attorney Sheehan with regards to that question on Mr. McGarrett. Mr. McGarrett not involved in testimony this week.
okay,
If I can check it just briefly.
absolutely.
You're very welcome. If any of you watched the Gannon Stout trial with me or with anybody else, gosh, this is going to be harder than that one was. And that one was very, very, very tough to watch. But this should last all month. Well, at this rate, it might last through next month too. This is 2 days of basically half a day of court. So they have adjourned for today. And it resumes tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. I really thank you guys for being here, and hopefully you'll join me again tomorrow. Thank you so much. I hope you guys have a great day. Bye-bye.